All right, Mr. Love here. Today we're going to be talking about citizenship and the process of naturalization. So, plain and simple, citizenship is being a participatory member of a certain political community or of a certain society. So, if you're a citizen of the United States, that means that you can actively participate in the goings on of the United States. So you have to meet some legal requirement of that nation or of that state. So, for example, if you were born in the United States, then you automatically have United States citizenship. That's called jus soli. All right, that's a Latin term meaning the law of the soil. So if you were born in the United States on U.S. soil, boom, you have U.S. citizenship. All right. Well, if you have parents, one or both parents who are U.S. citizenship or have citizenship, then when you are born, you can get U.S. citizenship. So you might have dual citizenship. If you're a fan of the World Cup, this is how a lot of those players who live in Germany were able to play for the United States because they had parents who were U.S. citizens, but they had their child over in Germany. So they jus soli, they had German citizenship, but their parents were U.S. citizens, so they had U.S. citizenship. That's called dual citizenship. And you can do that. So that's how they were able to pick which team they wanted to play for. So a little modern connection there. But having parents who are U.S. citizens transfer that over to you, that's called jus sanguinis, or the law of blood. Jus soli, the law of soil, jus sanguinis, the law of blood. So that's how you can get U.S. citizenship without even trying, by being born. Also, another thing, if you've ever heard of the term anchor babies, that's a lot of Latin American people coming up from Central Latin America. Pregnant women will come and they'll have their child on U.S. soil. Jump the border, have their child on U.S. soil. That child automatically has U.S. citizenship. So now it puts us in a little bit of a predicament. What are we going to do? Are we going to send that child back and send that mother back, or are we going to let them live here? So there's a lot of citizenship can cause a lot of different situations that we have to deal with. So make sure you're familiar with jus sanguinis, jus soli, the law of soil, the law of blood, for the way in which you can obtain citizenship naturally. So you're familiar with how you get citizenship naturally, jus sanguinis, jus soli. So there is a process for people who want to come over to the United States and give up their citizenship to another country, expatriate, or to give up a citizenship to a country, and naturalize, become a citizen of another country. So the U.S. Constitution gives Congress the power to make the process for naturalization. That's in Article 1 of the Constitution. So you can become a naturalized citizen if you wanted to through a part of a group or through an individual, but you have to go through a certain process. So very first thing is you must declare your intent to be a naturalized citizen, through the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, the USCIS. The second thing that you have to do is that you have to wait at least 5 years to live in the country before you can really get that ball rolling. We want you to learn our customs, we want you to learn our ways, how our government runs, etc., so that you can be a citizen who functions within our society. If you're married, that waiting period only goes down to 3 years. The next one is you have to file your application for citizenship. That's step 3. Step 4 is you have to have a personal interview with somebody from the federal government. Step 5 is you have to take the citizenship exam, which you guys looked at earlier. You have to know a fair amount of U.S. history and how our government works, civic studies. Now, that's interesting because put yourself in an immigrant's shoes. Think about if you were to go over to England or you were to go over to France and they asked you all of these different government questions. How do you think that you would do? Probably not so well, right? Well, think about that for those immigrants who are coming over here. They have to learn our government system and be able to answer those questions. If somebody was to ask you a question about French history, who was the king who was beheaded during the French Revolution? Bam. All right, probably you wouldn't know that it was Louis the 16th off the top of your head, right? Or who was the first king to call the Estates General in 200 some odd years? Louis the 14th, right? You wouldn't know that about our presidents if you were somebody who was coming in. So you got to put yourself in the shoes. If the test seemed easy to you, probably not so much for them. If it seemed hard for you, it's hard for the people who are coming in as well. And then the last thing is you have to take an oath of allegiance. Now, September 17th is the anniversary of when our Constitution was ratified. It's called Constitution Day or Citizenship Day, and that's when a lot of people symbolically want to take the oath of allegiance. So there's that as well. Now, 6 steps to in the naturalization process. Make sure that you are familiar with those 6 steps. Make sure that you're familiar with jus sanguis, the law of blood, jus soli, the law of soil, how you can obtain citizenship, as well as the process of naturalization. So hopefully this video is going to be pretty short and sweet and be able to knock out those concepts for you. Y'all have a great day.